didn't understand a word either of two men, so he just said to it. But, to be fair, communicating with the Morleys has always been quite difficult. For example, when Bob said he was going to do a few lines after the ceremony, I didn't think he meant a speech. So, for those who don't know who I am, my name's Josh, or better known as Chit, as people in the room. And I'm James's other best man today. Greedy bastard, isn't he? Like I say, I'm not his brother, but people did actually think we were back in the early school days. And as Morley touched on, it was because we both had that awful Justin Bieber haircut. But overall, Morley seemed pretty happy with the comparison. But when people couldn't tell us apart anymore and started referring to me as the handsome one, he quickly got the word out that Bob was his brother and not me. You're done now, Bob, sorry. So I'm not really a public speaker, so to make sure I was prepared, I actually went down to local old people's home and practiced in front of them. And I think it went alright for the most part. Well, they all pissed themselves anyway. So this is my first time being a best man, so I haven't done a speech like this before. And I set about looking for a bit of inspiration. And weirdly enough, I actually stumbled upon it browsing George's old Instagram photos. So with that being said, I'm hoping it turns out a bit like a miniskirt. Long enough to be respectful, but short enough to keep you interested. I know it's customary to say that all the women look brilliant today, but quite frankly, I think you've heard enough. Because there's some entities out here that are looking bigger than Morley's, and I don't think that'd ever be possible. What I will say though is, what I think has quite actually rudely been missed out, is that Chris, Steve, both look absolutely cracking. And just a bit of a word of advice from me. Keep your arses close to the walls tonight, because a couple of our lad mates do swing the other way after a few too many. I already know that, Steve, come on. I'll admit, I'm feeling the pressure at the minute. Not because I'm stood up in front of all of you lot, it's just Morley said that if I did a good job, I could be the best man at his next wedding. Anyway, where do I start talking about this fine specimen of a man? I've got to say it's actually an honour to be given the role, and I've known him for so long. And if I'm being honest, I look up to him a bit. You know, he's grafted really hard professionally to get where he is today, and looks out for everyone around him, and he's a real provider for the people he loves. And to be fair, he's not in bad nick either. And I've got to say, doesn't his wife look absolutely stunning? Well, that's enough about Chris, Morley. Let's get on to the groom, shall we? Look, he's been my best mate for as long as I can remember. I've been kicking about with most of my life, playing football all the time. And when we did play football, he struggled to find a position where, you know, he felt comfortable and looked like he knew what he was doing. So good luck tonight, Georgia, with that. So we'll move on to you both as a couple now. And I actually think, I know he said it wasn't love at first sight, but I think it was pure and simple. Georgia was pure, James was simple. I remember being in the pub one day with Morley, early on in the relationship, and he's saying to me how much he liked this new girl he was seeing, saying stuff to me like, I'm telling you, Chit, she's the one. I'm going to travel the world with her. Which is definitely something you couldn't say about his previous missus, as she got his passport in her.
Love yeah.
A few weeks ago, we were out and James and Georgia pulled me to one side and said certain things that were off limits. Saying you can't say this, you can't say that. So I'm afraid this has been the PG version of the speech. So let's talk about the story where Robert caught him rolling around in Chris and Jill's front room, shall we? Don't worry, I'm not actually going to tell you about it. And for the non-family members in the room that might have been a bit intrigued at what that might have looked like, Georgia did say to me, after bottomless brunch I must have, that they were willing to do a bit of a reenactment of the day later on tonight, but only if we all took another 20 in the honeymoon pot. Because Switzerland ain't cheap, so... Right, I think you've all had enough of listening to me now, so I'm going to wrap this up. I absolutely adore this lad, and I actually love him way more than I'd like to admit. And I really do hope that we are best friends in 50 years' time. And I can honestly say that he deserves the best, and the best is what he's managed to bag himself today. So if I could just ask you one last time, please to raise a glass to Mr. and Mrs. Morley.